Whether you're with us on TV, radio or online every morning, it's breakfast from 6 a.m. Hope you can join us.
Join us for Ministry of Offence, the comedy panel show that's just like the news, in that the left fights the right and it doesn't really seem to matter who wins. We cover the big stories. It was in fact a troop of baboons and not angry vegans.
I like that.
And the really important stories.
Fat naked cow gets stuck in swimming pool.
It's a headline in a lot of local newspapers. Yeah.
We're on the same team, Nick. Yeah, but I'm just helping you.
Join us for Ministry of Offence, Saturday nights, 8 o'clock on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
Hello, good afternoon. It is, of course, 4 o'clock. This is GB News on TV, online and on digital radio. I'm Nana Akua. And, of course, it's the final day of Her Majesty's Platinum Jubilee celebration. And we've got so much going on. So over the next 2 hours, me and my panel will be taking on some of those big topics that are hitting the headlines right now. And as ever, this show is all about opinion. It's mine, it's theirs, and it's yours. We'll be debating, discussing, and at times we will disagree, but as ever, no one will be cancelled. So joining me today is columnist and model Lizzie Cundy, is celebrity chef Aldo Zilli, and broadcaster Danny Kelly. Before we get started, look, he's got the cakes right next to him. There'll be none left before we get started. Let's get your latest news headlines.
Thanks, Nana. Good afternoon. It's 1 minute past 4. I'm Bethany Elsey in the GB newsroom. Celebrations are underway across the country on the final day of the Queen's Platinum Jubilee weekend. In central London, a 2-mile-long carnival procession has begun, involving some 10,000 people, as well as the Gold State coach, which carried the Queen to her coronation. The procession began at Horse Guards Parade and is heading down the Mall to Buckingham Palace. It's hoped Her Majesty will make an appearance on the palace balcony to round off the celebrations. Meanwhile, millions have gathered for street parties across the country, with more than 85,000 big Jubilee lunches being held. Many street parties are in full swing, with bunting and dancing well underway. Well, this was the scene in Castle Donington in Leicestershire, just one of many across the country today. And Cardiff residents have had the chance to try out some cakes baked by the Duchess of Cambridge and her 3 children. Pictures posted on William and Kate's official Twitter account show Prince George, Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis baking cupcakes, which have been handed out at a street party in the city today. In other news, a man has died after falling into the River Thames when police tried to detain him with the use of a taser. Officers were called yesterday to Chelsea Bridge Road after reports of a man shouting in the street with a screwdriver. The man, in his 40s, was rescued by the local lifeboat and taken to hospital in a critical condition, but he later died. The police watchdog says an investigation is underway. And travellers in London have been advised to avoid the tube network tomorrow due to a strike of thousands of workers. Members of the RMT union will walk out for 24 hours in a dispute over jobs and pensions. It's due to start at around 8 a.m. Transport for London has warned of severe disruption on the underground network, but says some train services will continue to run. And Russia claims to have destroyed tanks provided to Ukraine by European countries. The statement comes after Kyiv was rocked by several explosions. After a relatively calm couple of weeks in the capital, smoke could be seen drifting over the city early this morning as emergency services responded to 2 incidents in 2 separate districts. At least 1 person has been taken to hospital. And at least 41 people have died and more than 150 have been injured after a fire swept through a container depot in Bangladesh. The fire triggered a huge blast and multiple explosions. It's not yet clear what caused the blaze, although officials said they suspect it may have started from a tank of hydrogen peroxide. Firefighters say containers filled with chemicals are still exploding. And Wales will be making no concessions against Ukraine as they face off in the World Cup playoffs in Cardiff later. Captain Gareth Bale says he'll make no apology if his squad denies Ukraine its World Cup dreams. The winner of the match will take the final spot in the competition in Qatar later this year. Wales has not played in a World Cup since 1958. This is GB News. We'll bring you more news as it happens now. Let's return to Nana.
Oh, what a glorious, glorious day. It is, of course, the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, and it is the final day of those celebrations. And it's been a wonderful weekend of people showing their appreciation for the incredible 70-year reign of Her Majesty the Queen. Events are being held across the country today, including the Platinum Jubilee pageant. Let's go straight there. Right, let's have a chat. Our reporter, Paul Hawkins, he's live. He's at the Mall. Paul, are you? Oh, Paul. So talk to me then. What's the atmosphere like?
Hi, Nana. Yeah, I'm actually on Whitehall, not far from 10 Downing Street. We're near the start of the parade, so everything you see going behind me will go. Let's just give you an idea of where we are. It will get to the top over here. At the top, the very top, you see the fountain in the distance. That is Trafalgar Square. The procession turns left, goes under Admiralty Arch, and then it heads up Pall Mall towards Buckingham Palace. But you're kind of getting a sneak preview of what is going to be on Pall Mall in about half an hour's time when the procession gets around there. Right now, this is the third part of the pageant. It's called Let's Celebrate, where we're celebrating the things that are important to the Queen. So you're seeing things like corgis, horses. We've had dance at the moment. So much colour and coordination. 10,000 people taking part in this pageant that stretches for around 3 kilometres. That's 1.8 miles in old money. And the amount of coordination and planning and colour and thought and creativity is incredible, and there's a lot of love from the crowd here, and the way the procession as it moves along interacts with the crowd as they go along. It's just a fantastic atmosphere, loads of positivity, real feel-good atmosphere. Think London 2012, that's what it's like out here on the streets. It's brilliant.
I've talked to people out there, so what have they been saying?
People out here are loving it. I mean, they were particularly loving the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s. Let's have a bit with this lady, actually. Excuse me. What's your name?
Joe.
Joe, are you enjoying it?
I'm loving it.
I just caught you grinning there.
I was smiling at you, trying to hear what you were saying.
Yeah.
No, it's fantastic, Joe.
What's been your highlight so far?
Oh, I like the decades. Cliff Richard.
Cliff Richard, he was on top of one of them, wasn't he?
He was.
The 60s one, I think.
This one, the 50s one.
The 50s one. I missed the 50s one. Right, OK. Anyone else look at you? Anyone else? Because there have been so many celebrities on each decade bus, haven't there?
Chris Hoy and the Kennys, yeah. That was a real highlight for me.
Yeah, and what about that golden coach earlier?
That was fantastic. It was like Cinderella's coach, wasn't it?
It was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a brilliant day.
Yeah, it is a brilliant day. Have you come far to be here today?
Kingston-on-Thames.
OK, not too far then. And how are you finding the weekend in general?
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, we had a street party at the flats yesterday, and really enjoyed the concerts on the TV. So yeah, it's a lovely atmosphere and bringing people together and the communities together. Top notch.
It's very London 2012, the Olympics. It's that kind of feel, isn't it?
Definitely feels it. Yeah.
Can we keep up this positivity, do you think?
I hope so. We have to try and keep it going, don't we?
Yeah.
For the Queen.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Well, she might make an appearance on the balcony still later. Still TBC. I mean, that would be the highlight of the weekend.
Yeah. That's what we're hoping. Yeah. Definitely.
Really good to talk to you, Joe. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Thank you, Joe. There, who is enjoying the celebrations, the pageant, just like the rest of us, Nana. So you didn't need to hear it from me telling you what people are thinking. You heard it from the horse's mouth. The horse being one of the Queen's other favourites. I'll stop it.
Well, that's just... But listen, I'll tell you what, it looks fabulous. Just behind you, though, there's a green thing. What is that? It may have gone past you. What is it? Do you know what part of the... there was this
Well,
big
let's just spin around at the green thing. Just one
Yeah, what
second,
is
we're
that?
still live. Sorry
What
about
is
that,
it?
mate.
Fabulous.
I'll be honest. I don't know what it is, but it looks good, doesn't it? It's brilliant. It's fantastic. Loads of colour. And I'm not sure what it is, but this is, like I said, this is the part of the parade that's Let's Celebrate, where we're celebrating things that are important to the Queen. We had, it might be part of the dance part of the dance episode, because this part that's called Let's Celebrate is divided into 12 episodes celebrating what is important to the Queen, and this still might be the dance episode, as they're calling it. So once this moves through, all we've got after this, after Let's Celebrate, we'll have the fourth part of the pageant. Whoop, mind out. We've got the fourth part of the pageant, and that is going to be called Happy and Glorious, and that's where we're going to get Ed Sheeran in front of the palace singing God Save the Queen, potentially to the Queen herself if she does appear on the balcony, as we were just talking to Joe about there.
Well, listen, Paul, it sounds absolutely, and it looks absolutely sensational. It's so good to sort of catch up with you there, actually seeing it live. And I think that green thing might have been one of the peacocks, because that was one of the things about this country that was part of the celebration. That's true. Well, listen, Paul, thank you so much. We'll catch up with you throughout the pageant, and it's so good to see it actually happening there and then. It's so lovely to hear people actually enjoying it. And at the moment, I mean, a lot of you will be listening on the radio, but if you can catch up on the app, but what we're seeing here, it's like a sort of, there's lots of, it's like sort of, are they trees, or Aldo, what is that?
It's well designed, great colours.
Mm.
And it's moving.
Yeah.
That's...
well, there's sort of like a maypole, isn't there, with sort of luminous...
Or maybe Morris dancers, is it? Is it Morris dancers there? Or... Oh, it's amazing.
Danny, what can you see out there?
They've just gone out of shot. Maybe that represents a quintessential English village green or something, with a maypole.
But there's a lot of people there as well. The crowds are literally, you can see they're absolutely loving it there. And I'm really glad to see that it's not raining.
No.
It's not raining.
Yes.
No, and I'm really jealous, actually. I wish I was reporting from there. I wish I had a little stand with my pizza van.
Oh, you'd make a fortune.
You'd have done well.
I know. Yeah. My little Prosecco bar. And
if it does rain, you have no hair to mess up, do you, my friend? As Danny.
Neither has Danny. I always wonder when I go to these events, and I love this sort of thing, when there's lots of people gathering, there's processions and things to watch, where are the toilets? I mean, do you know what I mean? I don't mean to be funny, because if I'm there, and I love all of this, but I'd be the first one thinking, where are the toilets?
Yes.
You know, and I mean, but I don't see any there, and they'll ruin the sort of look.
That's quite a good observation, actually. Where is the toilet?
Yeah. Well, when you talked about your Prosecco, and I'm sort of at,
is that right?
At an age where...
you wanted to go
it
to
was
the toilet?
my first thought when I saw the show last night. I thought, where did they get to the loo? But, yes.
Oh, now, look, they are now at the... where are they? Is that the...
That's the palace, isn't it?
That's the palace, isn't
Just
it?
outside the Queen's window, by the looks of it.
Yes, there are plenty.
But isn't it amazing, the people that have camped out and stayed there, and they have their tents, and they so love our Queen and want to celebrate. It just is incredible.
It'd be the same question again.
It's amazing how many,
but where are the
people, even in Italy, where I come from, we celebrated the whole weekend. And my family, my brothers, there's been floats on the streets. There's been they've closed the streets.
So they
they've had
celebrated
street
the
parties
Jubilee in Italy as well.
Yes, in my village, which is incredible. How much we think of the Queen. We only think that there's one Queen in the world, and this is your Queen.
Well, I think that
Incredible.
she's the last sort of remaining monarch, isn't she? There aren't any other countries that have a monarch like ours in that way that presides over the Commonwealth. 15 countries of the Commonwealth. And
it's incredible.
Over 50.
Such a cultural icon, but it's been portrayed everywhere on plates, stamps, you name it, and TV shows
in
like
the studio,
everything.
There's one here, there's a Queen here.
Makes Kim Kardashian look like a wallflower. She's been everywhere. There's no one that doesn't
What was
love
great,
her.
I was glued to last night's concert. I thought it was brilliant. What was great was that we saw so many people from different continents, from different countries, all members of the Queen's Commonwealth. And it was great to see people of all colour celebrating the fact that this is a great, diverse country. And it's not a racist country that a lot of people want to make it out to be. It's a fabulous, welcoming country, and that was displayed last night.
I was wondering why you had an Italian on the panel.
Hey, that's right.
But all countries are celebrating, aren't they? The Jubilee, and my friends in America are celebrating. They just adore the Queen.
Well, Dana Alexander was on here the other day, and she said, well, she's never ever seen any celebrations in Canada and all this. And I thought, I don't think you get out much if you're saying that, because I'm pretty sure that Canada, there will be places in Canada that are celebrating
Without a doubt.
this. I'll tell you what was really nice as well. Oh, on the screen, we've got some...
How tired are they going to be by the end of tonight, by the way, those dancers?
Oh, look at that. And this is, as you were talking about, Danny, the diversity. This looks to me like a sort of celebration of all the Commonwealth countries there, because you've got all the different... You've got some different outfits and people doing different dances from different parts of the world there. So it is...
And it's great to see people parking up the debate about whether the Commonwealth should be divided further. You know, today or yesterday, particularly on the television, and today, is all about the Queen. It's about this moment in time. And it's great that people weren't brought along to be interviewed. People who are anti-monarchy, people who are anti-Commonwealth. Yeah. And it was celebratory. And I've been in the media for 20 years, and it was refreshing to see that people didn't use this as an opportunity to criticise the status quo.
Yeah, and I've been a bit upset. On other channels, I've watched some broadcasters saying, what is the Queen used for? What does she do?
I think that's
and it was so disrespectful.
Did you see that over the last 4 days? Though?
Yeah, I sadly did.
It's quite disrespectful of people talking about that, but I'm just looking now at the celebrations, and there are people with tables and cakes.
That's incredible.
That's clearly to celebrate.
That's celebrating the Great British Bake Off.
It's the big Jubilee lunch.
But what imagination to do this, and all the work that's gone into it.
There's sort of people wearing an outfit that has a table sort of attached to it with cakes that are obviously going to be stuck on there.
Yeah,
so
that's a dress I've never worn, I have to say.
Really? There's still time.
There's still time.
I'm surprised those cakes have lasted so long in front of Danny, I'll be honest with you.
For those listening on radio, I'm 6'4", 20 stone, and there are about 40 cakes beautifully
they're beautiful.
tempting me just on the left-hand side.
Don't worry, my food's coming later.
One.
And we have Aldo Zilli in studio as well.
Of course.
We know bringing food
Mini-me.
as well. So we should be enjoying the Jubilee lunch with everybody else. But now we've got... they're beef eaters.
Yes.
They've got on screen. They've got these giant beef eaters, and they're on the pageant.
Yeah.
And at the front, you've got a big beef eater at the front. Hasn't got a head, but he's got a rotating crown.
Oh my goodness, the detail that has gone into that is incredible.
I've just looked, and there are some people dressed as beef eaters at the front playing what looks like trumpets, but they're not. They're actually the flag. There's a flag on the end. They look like they're playing them, but like a trumpet. It's and there's the lion. There's the gold lion there to represent.
I hope they've got a portable loo. That's what I'm thinking as well.
There might be one inside there, or maybe one of the beef eaters. They're big enough. They've perhaps got a hidden.
Without coming across as jingoistic, but do you think that there are many other countries that could organise something like this?
Well, they haven't got a queen, so probably not.
No, but something similar to celebrate something that's incredibly important to hopefully each and every citizen.
Well, we celebrate the 15th of August as our Ferragosto, which there's a lot of, every town and every city and every village in Italy celebrates that day.
And what's the significance of Ferragosto?
It's the hottest day of the year, and it's Ferragosto means hot iron. And it's been going for God knows how many years, and still to this day, I'm going to be there this year to celebrate with my family. You see floats all along the seafront going
beautiful.
up and down, and people eat in the streets. So everybody brings their food to the streets. So that's what
it brings everyone together.
That's why this Jubilee street party for me is just incredible.
Well, the pageant right now is sensational. There was a giant crown, huge crown that was rotating. And remember the comments that the Queen made when she wore the crown? She said, basically, don't look down. Because it was so heavy.
It was so heavy and incredibly heavy. And I don't know if any of you have met the Queen. I accidentally met her at Royal Ascot.
Because
I was accidentally, because I was in... It was just before COVID.
The name dropping started
sorry,
early.
it started early, sorry. And I'm starting at the top. We'll go down as we go through the show. No, I literally was running for we keep talking about the toilets, but running for a wee, and I had to go through a royal enclosure, and she was coming the other way. But what a small lady. Tiny.
Sorry, you were going to the toilet the Queen had just vacated?
This is the theme of
it was the royal enclosure. And I was at Ascot, which is, I really love the horses, as she does, and such a tiny wee lady.
Yeah, I stood next to her when Frankie Dettori was just about to jump on one of her horses, and I was talking to him in Italian, and he jumped on the horse and he said, go and put a bet on me, and he only won. This was
Did you put a bet on him?
Yes.
You did?
He did, he won.
8 years ago, yeah, I never forget that day.
Well, you've got now, you've got the band playing now as they're sort of making their way towards the palace, and it is quite lovely. They've got what are those? They're French horns, those circular gold French horns. There's a white one there as well.
What is that?
And there's a carriage sort of behind a pageant with sort of doves at the top, and then another one behind, and these are square pageants. They look potentially like cakes.
Yeah, they do.
Are they entering? Are they entering?
I love the colours.
I think they are, aren't they? They're entering. They're going back. They're going through the gates, the ornate gates.
Well, that's right. I mean, I don't
so they're
think
entering.
Well, they are, but I don't think they're going to go inside the palace itself. But
isn't it amazing how they've organised all this? I mean, how they've done the rehearsal and done it? It is incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible, isn't it?
Well, I know Carnival, Notting Hill Carnival, for example, which is not on this magnitude, to be honest.
Yeah.
No.
Carnival, at the end of the Carnival, they then start organising the next one. The other one's finished, so it's a year long. This must have taken years.
And it's nice that it's not political in any way. I was watching Diversity last night, and I was almost watching through my fingers, hoping that they weren't going to take the knee or something like that.
Something like that.
And it was apolitical. There was no politics.
Well, perhaps they've learnt a lesson, because obviously Black Lives Matter have come out as crooks, which I knew they were.
Yeah.
So, and I did say at the very start, and I was vilified for that by the black and white community. So I'm very pleased for myself that I had the right instinct to understand that. But we don't want to see any of that here today.
No.
But the costumes, look at the costumes.
Wow.
Look at what's on screen now.
Someone painted in gold.
Somebody painted in gold, and there's like flowing wings. I think there's sort of flames, and I don't know.
So creative.
And also everything means something. You know, although I don't know what it means, but
but lots of colour, and it's vibrant, and it's positive, and we're all together after such a...
Look, there's a giant belly dancer.
Just by chance. I think that everything means something.
I would suggest that is a figure of maybe an Indian Bollywood dancer. So this is the Commonwealth now.
Yeah.
So we're now talking about all the
saying.
different countries being represented.
That's right. So the part of the pageant, all the different countries, the Commonwealth being represented. There are 4 acts in it, and the last act has 12 chapters in, and they are divided that out into all different things that the Queen is passionate about. And I mean, what we see here now is a sort of
a globe on the fella's head.
It is.
Painted gold.
It is. But it's the imagination. But who sits and thinks, I know, let's do a spinning globe. I'll go to create that.
You can go creative. The Queen is very creative. She's also got a great sense of fun.
And she's very funny as well.
She's got a great sense of fun.
I love Paddington Bear. I was just going to say, and what acting?
Wow.
I mean, I know we're hearing Harry wants to do acting, but the Queen, let me tell you, Oscar-winning performance. Wasn't she great?
He's Nan, hasn't he?
Well, listen, stay with us, because we are celebrating with the Queen. It's the final day of the Platinum Jubilee, and they're making their way towards the palace. We'll continue to bring you the latest. The boys with me, Danny, Kelly, Aldo Zilli, will join you back in 10 minutes. And for the glorious fashion designer, David Emmanuel, he'll be here with me and Lizzie Cundy, and we will talk about saying yes to that dress. That's on the way.
Brilliant, Nana.
Cool, well done.
We are GB News.
We're right across this great nation.
On TV.
On radio, on digital.
Absolutely everywhere.
We don't talk down to you.
We embrace all voices. With honest and civilised conversation.
We're not part of the establishment.
We're one of you.
And we're only getting started.
Join us on GB News,
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Every morning from 6 o'clock, we'll wake you up with GB News Breakfast with all the stories you didn't know from the night before.
So whether it's serious news, entertainment, or your own views from all over our great nation, we're here to kick off your day with a smile.
The national media should be reflecting and reporting what's happening here.
You will notice the northwestern accents.
Whether you're with us on TV, radio, or online, every morning, it's breakfast from 6 a.m. Hope you can join us.
Join us for Ministry of Defence, the comedy panel show that's just like the news, in that the left fights the right and it doesn't really seem to matter who wins. We cover the big stories. It was in fact a troop of baboons and not angry vegans.
I like that.
And the really important stories.
Fat naked cow gets stuck in swimming pool.
It's a headline in a lot of local newspapers.
We're on the same team, Nick. Yeah, but I'm just helping you.
Join us for Ministry of Defence, Saturday nights, 8 o'clock on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
So good afternoon. This is GB News on TV, online and on digital radio. I'm Nana Akua and we continue with our coverage of the pageant. And now I'm joined by fashion designer David Emanuel and columnist and model Lizzie Cundy. Well, I mean, there's been so much, David. It's so good to have you on there.
Pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Now, of course, you are, well, world famous for that dress. I mean, talk about your whole, tell us a little bit about what that was like.
It was extraordinary. It changed my life. It was my passport around the world. I mean, you have to remember, Diana's gown was watched by 700 million people. So suddenly you become a household name. But it is responsible to live up to that image. And we promised to make it quite simply a fairy tale princess. I think we pulled it off.
I think you did. I think you did. But the trail, I mean, do you remember it just coming out the carriage?
25
it went on
foot.
and on and on.
Yeah.
And my mouth, I remember going, wow.
I wanted to be her that day. I said,
did
I wanted
you?
to be you. I loved that. It was like it looked like a sort of flow of milk, didn't it?
I think what's more extraordinary, it was on show at Kensington Palace earlier in the year. And I find it extraordinary because when you see behind a glass case, it becomes a museum piece. But to me, I remember it full of life with a beautiful woman inside it and fun. She was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So now, I can't believe in, 2022, we're talking about it.
Well, we've got a giant...
What is this?
You know stuff about things. I wish I'd brought my glasses as well. This looks like a giant wedding dress, doesn't it? Is
Yeah,
this
it
somebody...
does look a bit.
This
It looks very
princess.
Evita-ish a bit, doesn't it? What I can see. I mean, what I'm amazed about with all this going on, they're dancing, but they've got to dance for miles.
They have to dance for miles. They're going to be so... And I keep asking where they're going to go to the loo.
There's the crown. That's
I mean,
rather
that's stunning.
wonderful. It looks like a wrought iron horse.
On a horse.
Yeah.
Would you think it would be very heavy?
I should imagine.
Do you think,
yeah.
it actually is?
Well, it's on. It's been driven by something because it looks heavy. Well, what a fabulous
crown. It looked like something
David,
at the front
how
of the
do you
bicycle
start to
pulling it. I was thinking that's going to be hard with the wrought iron.
But how do you start to design
Oh, come
things
on.
like this?
Yeah,
I
well,
mean,
I'm
it's
a designer.
incredible.
I can design lots of things. I've designed for theatre. The bigger the project, the more exciting you get because you can be extravagant. You can be larger than life. I mean, people say about me, going back to Danny's dress, would you change? No, of course not, because it was in St. Paul's, which is huge, and you couldn't do a quiet little, understated little gown. You had to do a statement.
And
you know
that
what I
was
mean?
something.
Well, look at these, and these are all statements. Look, they're all rearing horses.
Yeah. What are they made of? They look like, again, they've got these circular things on them. And then this clearly is it's a princess, isn't it?
It must be.
A princess,
yeah.
in a gorgeous white dress. And she's...
but this has been going on.
She's animated. She's moving her hands.
She is.
My word.
But
Is it a puppet? Is there strings operating her arms?
Yeah.
Is it puppetry?
You can see behind, they're guiding it.
Yes.
You see.
Yeah, and as is the horse behind. Yeah. But, David, how did Diana choose you out of all designers to do that dress?
Oh, God. It was really through Vogue magazine. That's how it started, that they rang up and said, could we send in some clothes? So I said, well, who's it on? And they wouldn't say. I said, well, OK, what colour? She was blonde. Happened to have a pale pink blouse in the studio hanging up. We rustled up a quick pale pink skirt, sent it off. And when she went in to choose from racks of clothes, I said, that one. And that one was my blouse and skirt.
Wow.
Well, Emmanuel's blouse and skirt, my ex-wife and I, when we were together. And we sent it in. And what I didn't know, Lord Snowdon was doing the pictures.
Yes.
For her engagement.
Yeah. Right.
So it was all planned. Oh, no.
Oh, the corgis!
Now, this is fun.
And they're throwing them in the air.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Now, I was asked by your...
What was that?
The dogs in the air.
I love it.
On the leads, though, sort of the dogs thrown in the air on the leads.
Yeah.
Gently.
That's cool. That's cool. That's a nod, obviously, to Her Majesty. She's owned corgis all her life.
Yeah.
But I was
Are
asked,
they real?
But
Are they real?
No.
I was going to say, sorry, they look like they're
And we've got swans.
And we've got the dancing swans.
Those are beautiful.
No, and they're not real swans, by the way. People.
No.
They are people dressed up, but they actually look like swans, who I hear aren't that friendly if you sort of...
No, they're not.
They can be vicious, as can be corgis. I remember
Yes, corgis
I remember going to Clarice's house, delivering the frock, opened the door, and all these hundreds of corgis came rushing towards you. And I said to the door, "Oh, they're lovely." He said, "No, they're not. They nip. They nip your ankles, corgis."
Why do you think the Queen loved corgis so much?
Because they're sturdy and reliable.
Yeah.
And they're little as well, because she's quite small, as you
Of course.
said earlier.
Yeah, she's very petite, the Queen.
And they gave her comfort, I'm sure, because, you know, she always has them by her side.
Absolutely.
But it's incredible.
She even takes them on royal tours, where she used to tour around the world, pack the corgis in as company.
So bad.
Now, there's people in sort of blue kind of...
That's nice, turquoise.
Turquoise, yes. I like turquoise.
Yeah.
But their colour is so beautiful and vibrant, and it's so much energy,
It's almost like a Tiffany blue, isn't it? You know what I mean? That's a lovely colour.
Now, this princess, I'm wondering what that signifies to see, you know, such a...
Oh, yes.
Because, you know, I'm going to find out for you.
Perhaps it's supposed to be Her Majesty the Queen is a young princess, is it? I don't know. Because you've got the crown there.
Got the crown.
And she's behind, isn't she? Yeah.
It's possibly, but it is so incredible what they've done, isn't it?
A lot of work.
A lot of work.
Now, you were talking about some motor pulling that. I told you there was somebody at the front on a bicycle. They're all on bicycles behind.
Oh, they're pedalling it to keep it going.
So they're pedalling it forward. So if it is cast iron, no wonder there's about 20 people on bikes.
Yeah. But it's mad who says, let's have this big iron horse with pedallers behind.
They're pedalling behind a cast iron horse, but there's some in the front as well who are pulling and the others are pushing. Get that towards the palace.
But how wonderful to celebrate the Queen. I mean, it's, you know, what a woman. I mean...
Extraordinary.
What's she mean to you, David?
86. I think the very first time I met her...
She's 96.
96, 96, yes.
The very, very first time I met her was actually on the day of Diana's wedding. I'm in the throne room, right? The windows are there, the millions of crowds behind. I'm helping Patrick Litchfield with the photographs. Yes, we want the train in the shot, we want the train out of the shot. And I stepped back and I looked at this, and it was like a family wedding, except you knew everybody there. And Her Majesty came up. She said, "Mr. Emmanuel, have you had some champagne?" I said, "No." And in 2 seconds, I had a huge glass of champagne.
Wow.
Delivered by... She obviously got a footman straight away. But
sounds my sort of girl.
I mean, talk about power. You know, but she cared, because we're all working. You know, we're working to make beautiful photographs. And she said, "Well, have you had some champagne?" I thought, "Well, no, everybody else is drinking champagne. You know, Princess Margaret. I mean, they were all there. And the Duke and everybody."
Well, there's so much going on. I think we can go live now to our royal reporter who's there at the pageant and give us a quick rundown on what is actually happening and what he's seeing. Cameron, we've been watching the pageant. It has been absolutely sensational. All the different things. You've got a big princess. You've got all the wonderful swans and everything. Whereabouts are you and what's going on where you are?
Nana, I didn't quite hear you because it's incredibly loud here, but we have some breaking news. The royal standard has just been raised above Buckingham Palace, which means Her Majesty the Queen is now in residence at Buckingham Palace behind me. We were expecting that perhaps she might come at the end of the Platinum Jubilee weekend to round off the celebrations of her 70 years of service to the nation. She appeared twice on the balcony on Thursday for the Trooping the Colour celebrations. She then went back to Windsor Castle to symbolically start the lighting of those Platinum Jubilee beacons. Due to those mobility problems that she's experienced over the last couple of months and experiencing some discomforts during Trooping the Colour, she decided to pull out of the St Paul's Cathedral service of Thanksgiving on Friday. She also did not attend the derby at Epsom Downs on Saturday, and there was hope that perhaps she would appear at the end of this Platinum Jubilee pageant this Sunday, and now it looks as if we may well get a balcony appearance on the balcony, one final balcony appearance at Buckingham Palace to round off Her Majesty the Queen's Platinum Jubilee bank holiday weekend. I can see the Royal Standard flying. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of wind, so you can't see it properly flying, but that is definitely the Royal Standard, so Her Majesty the Queen is definitely in residence here at Buckingham Palace.
Wow. That is absolutely incredible. So we're hoping that we'll see her on the balcony and get a glimpse of her to celebrate her with her for 70 years.
Well, as you know, when the royal standard is, that means she's in residence.
Yes, she's
the
there.
boss has arrived.
Yeah, the boss is here.
She's probably come up from Windsor and probably just arrived. So I should imagine she might possibly change, powder her nose and be ready for the balcony.
Oh, I've got goosebumps.
Oh, yes.
I can't wait.
Yes.
I really do hope so.
It's a shame. We only see one glimpse of her, didn't we? After the troop-in, she appeared on the balcony in that wonderful Wedgwood blue and white suit. And the roar, when she came onto the balcony, did you hear the roar?
I know.
It's extraordinary.
I mean, the love for her.
Well,
is
she's here.
incredible.
She's officially here, ladies and gentlemen. So let's fingers
We might
crossed.
have to pop open that champagne.
Oh, that's right.
No,
We have
I've just
champagne.
noticed.
We have champagne, we've got cakes, and I hope...
Is it ice?
I hope at home you are going to be celebrating as well with us because, of course, we've got this fabulous pageant. And, I mean, what we can see on our screens, and if you're listening on the radio, we've now got lots of people going through that pageant. They're carrying some form of flags. I wish I'd...
Technicolor flags.
Yeah, with the Queen's face.
Wonderful.
Incredible.
And there's one big... Is that a balloon there
Yeah,
with the
it
Queen's
looks
face
like.
on there? And
Yeah,
that
I think you're right.
Lovely purple, that
But
lilac
the
that's
colours...
the whole theme of this whole event is really quite...
It's actually magical, isn't it? It's just simply
I think with all
spectacular.
that dancing going on, it's just as well there's a bit of rain, I think, to cool everybody down.
Is it raining?
Well,
now?
It's speckling. Is it?
I have to say, I had a party very early this morning. I've done very well to get here, which started quite early. And it did start to rain, and I thought, oh my, fingers crossed. But the weather's now much better.
Well,
so
my
hopefully it
goodness,
won't
what
be-
we've got now is we've got it's like a balloon.
Yeah, huge.
And underneath this balloon, because the balloon is actually floating, underneath this balloon is an acrobat who appears to have the, one of those, those, if
Hoists.
you've done that, she's got a hoist on her foot,
Yeah.
and she's dangling upside down and doing, or it could be he, I don't know, doing some sort of performance.
It's almost like a Cirque du Soleil.
It is. I was just going to say it's like Cirque du Soleil.
Have you seen
Oh, yes.
Have you seen that?
Yes, I have.
I've seen a couple in London, but the one in Las Vegas I saw was all about water. It was extraordinary.
Wow, incredible. You
Yeah.
see that and you think, God, I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
You start doing some limber up.
That's
The
right.
fitness
I'll
of
never be able to do
these
that.
guys,
Not in my wildest
their fitness is unbelievable, but to be upside down under
But
a
that's
balloon of the Queen
it's a young
is
portrait of Her Majesty the Queen.
spectacular.
Well, of
and
course.
it's huge. It's wonderful.
Well, of course, I mean, she was only, 25 when
That's
her
right.
father died, and she found out that she would then be looking
taking
after
over.
the throne, taking
Yeah.
over. And what an amazing and incredible job she's done. It for me, faultless. I mean, 70 years. And her husband, Philip, who was by her side,
Amazing.
what an incredible man.
I know.
I mean, they are an example to us as, if you want to be happy in a sense, if you could just sort of...
Yeah.
Well,
follow
she did thank him, didn't she?
Yes.
Been an amazing support all her life and all through her reign. Sad to think, she's by herself now. But I think, to be fair, the family have pulled together to support her, haven't they?
Well, they have indeed, but her sense of loyalty, duty goes beyond. And I think a lot of the royals today can learn so much from her. And I hope they do.
Couldn't they?
And I hope they do.
And I think as well, the lockdowns, I think that she would have had a lot of time with Philip as well, because nobody could go anywhere. She was in the palace with her family and so on. So in a way, I mean, COVID was awful, but I think at least it seems that she had that time with him without having to carry out all these royal duties. So to have that time, I think would have been good anyway.
I agree with you.
That's for me, I'm happy for her with that. But this, again, I mean, if you've ever been to Cirque du Soleil, we've got an acrobat who's doing some cartwheels.
I hope he doesn't have vertigo. He's very high up there. He's going higher.
This almost looks like a peacock.
Well, that is part of the pageant, actually.
All right.
Some of the things that represent the things for the Jubilee are peacocks and things like that. There's the lion as well. And
it's absolutely beautiful, though. Stunning. Absolutely stunning. But yeah, as you talked about, I mean, she must somehow today be thinking of her husband not having him there. Because, he was her rock, as she said.
But I think it's more clever than that. I think, obviously, she has mobility problems, but I think, in a way, because she's so mystique, you can't see her, it throws all the attention onto the people performing.
Onto her as well, though, onto her.
Yeah.
Because we're all thinking about
We're desperate to see her, aren't we?
Yeah.
And I was so wanting this Platinum Jubilee to be all about her. I was worried a bit that Meghan and Harry would steal a bit of the limelight, which they haven't, and they were well behaved.
I actually think that what's happened is we are seeing a wonderful woman who's very forgiving, and you're watching the art of forgiveness, and it is humbling, even for those two. It'll be humbling for them to see. actually perhaps...
They're not the stars of the show.
Yeah,
Her Majesty is.
This is the star of the show.
Her Majesty is.
Her Majesty is, and I thought Charles's words were very good last night.
Yeah,
did you
I
agree?
did. Yeah, I thought they were great.
On the stage with Camilla, which was wonderful.
Yeah, Camilla, I mean, she's been a rock for him, hasn't she?
Yes.
And she has shown again, and it goes to show the British public are pretty forgiving in a sense, because people loved Diana. I loved Diana. We all remember where we were when that awful tragedy happened.
Oh, yes.
I remember that day, and she was incredible, but... when Camilla
Time
came
moves
along,
on.
everybody hated her pretty much. But she's, again, set a fabulous example.
She has.
Thankfully.
And the boys have taken to her. And Charles is obviously... They're a great couple together.
Well, I hear rumours that Harry hasn't taken to her as well, but that, we don't know for sure. That could just be a rumour.
And Camilla is a very... I mean, to meet her, I've done a couple of charity events with her. Absolutely such fun. I mean, real fun. And just totally...
A good rock for Charles.
Good rock for Charles, I agree.
Yeah.
But look at the love of the people for the Queen, and it just really melts my heart, seeing everyone there. And to think some people have camped out for days and days.
And some reports are saying, is anybody going to show up? Hello? The map.
Yeah.
It's been good. You can't see them.
No, you can't see. But I'm excited though, because later on in the show, Angela Levin will be coming to talk to us. And in the studio.
Yes.
And she's having lunch with Camilla. She's had lunch with Camilla, so we'll have a chat with her about. She's our royal biographer, and I love. We are obsessed with the royal family in a way, and in a way it sort of takes our attention off all the squabbling. And I think that's what did Charles call it? He called it the squabbling that's going on with all the politicians and things. It's so petty and mindless when there's so much more about this country.
Yeah.
And the Queen.
Well, we have to also remember, as we're looking at these beautiful shots, I mean, there is still a war going on.
Yes.
And we have huge high inflation. People are worried about food. People are worried about heat in their homes. But look, for 4 days, chill, just enjoy this.
Yes.
It's an extraordinary time to enjoy.
We've had the pandemic, everything else,
Yeah.
and I think
All
this
the
is
way
a time where we can celebrate. But, we do look up to our Queen, because someone said to me, what does the Queen mean to you? But, she, all we've been through with the pandemic and wars, when she does her speech, we look up to her, don't we, for comfort? She is the one we look to.
We look forward to the Christmas speech. She always does a speech at Christmas.
I always remember that Anna Cereblis speech as well.
Yes, that was
there's
famous.
Gary Lineker. I can see on...
please don't.
Now, I am
celebratory, then you mentioned Gary Lineker.
I'm sorry, but I've just seen him on a float.
We've actually got
Amy
a picture.
Winehouse.
Amy Winehouse.
Yeah.
There was like a double-decker bus going by now.
Yeah.
And it's got some of
Celebrities on top.
Iconic British artists.
Present. You've got Amy Winehouse.
Who else is on there? There's somebody in a white jacket.
We've got the Queen Mother there, I think. Is that below? Is that Queen? We've got
Mo Farah on there. I think that's Mo Farah on there.
Yeah, look.
He's doing a little dance, Mo Farah. But this is it appears lots of celebrities on double-decker buses, which are iconic in this country, aren't they? But they're sort of painted all sorts of colours. Then there's one big double-decker bus going by with a silver Union Jack on it.
Oh. And we're a little bit upset we're not on that, aren't we, David?
We haven't been invited.
Well, we've got
there's Ryland. Ryland's on.
Holly Willoughby's on there too.
Ryland's in a white suit. I can see him and his teeth. I've just spotted him.
Who's that?
Oh, wow. Oh, from The Apprentice.
Oh, there's Deborah Meadham. Deborah Meadham's on the bus as well.
Wow, how fabulous.
Lovely yellow jacket. I like that.
I hope you've got thermals on.
Yes, it is rather cold out there.
It's cold up there.
Do you think it's... Well, the flag wasn't moving, so it's not obviously...
No, not too windy.
Well, I don't really want to talk about flags, because Gary Lineker did say the flag was just a cloth with a stick on. So I wasn't very happy with his comments on this.
Is that what you said?
Because the flag is so symbolic for so many reasons.
He's a hypocrite anyway.
Well, yes, but he is on the float.
Well, he's on the float. But he's always talking.
I obviously didn't get the email about Gary.
No, he's always talking nonsense. So just literally ignore what he has to say. Okay. I mean, the fact is, we're watching him. He's on this float, and he's talked about flags, and there he is. Yeah. But there are lots of celebrities on there too.
But look at all the thousands of people who've turned up to watch this spectacle.
I mean,
how amazing. How amazing. I just sent off 2 Americans. They came in for the whole week of celebrations. So I took them to Polo yesterday. And we had lunch in the Royal Box.
Oh,
obviously, but Her Majesty wasn't there, obviously.
No.
But they went away flying. They were flying back this morning, and they just couldn't.
Love it.
There's the excitement they're going to take back, and you have to remember, this whole celebration will bring an enormous amount of revenue into this country. Huge, huge. It's not just the buying of the flags and the tea towels. The hotels are groaning.
Yes.
They're full of tourists, you know. I mean...
And you know what I love? People have really made the effort. We've got this, terrible cost of living at the minute, and yet people have travelled from everywhere to be here.
Absolutely.
The trains haven't helped.
No, they haven't. But, well, at least they postponed their strike until tomorrow. That would have been the wise thing.
Exactly.
And we can all stay at home. We've got quite used to working at home. But what I think things like this does is raises the currency of the royal family.
Yes.
Which is, after all the damage that's been caused and inflicted by sort of all the nonsense that's been going on, it's really good to see where people see them and the world sees them, and the Queen, obviously at the head of this, she's an incredible woman, isn't she?
I think what's clever about Her Majesty the Queen, she rises above it all, doesn't she?
She does.
Doesn't speak very much. When she speaks, we listen.
Yes, that's it.
We really listen, because she's got something dramatic to say. And we should take a leaf out of her book,
I agree.
Very considered. She looks at everything and then makes a considered...
She doesn't judge, and I have my views on Meghan and Harry, but yes.
It's something that I will aspire.
She's kind, she's very kind, but as you say, measured.
Yeah.
And I think she's read the room. Look, Andrew's not there, apparently because of COVID reasons, and didn't have Harry and Meghan on the balcony, which I personally think was the right
But look at the example she's setting. We're desperate to see her, and every time she turns up, she's always immaculately turned out.
Yep.
She always has, the quite a bright coloured suit. She has the diamond brooch. She has the pearl. That's her trademark look. Do you know what I mean? Immaculate hair, and we should make other ladies of 96 sit up.
Well, by saying nothing about the whole debacle with Harry and Meghan, she said everything, and that is silence is the loudest noise in the theatre.
Yeah.
She said nothing about it. She's held her dignity. She's held her nerve, and when she has said something, it's been considered exactly as you said, Lizzie, and that. When you see an example like that, and she's done that for 70 years of her reign.
I mean, silence speaks 1,000 words.
Loudest
and,
in the theatre.
For me, for these guys to do the interviews they've done, say they were that possibly someone in the family is racist and so forth. What that did to her when she just lost her husband. Yet she still welcomed them, and is so gracious.
It makes them look small.
It does.
It makes it look shameful.
You're right.
And it shows the brilliance of our Queen.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of the way she behaved, because that is an example to me.
I agree.
I've seen that, and I think to myself, right, instead, if I could just be the better person in these situations, I'd be a wonderful woman, but I don't know whether I can.
Yeah, I wish I could learn
you can step up.
You need that. But it is loyalty, dignity, duty. She's got it all. We need to take a leaf out of that.
We do, don't we?
I used to work for David. I was his model many years ago.
Many years ago.
Yes, many years ago.
Oh,
yeah, well, fun though.
How long ago was that? I think there were square wheels then.
We won't go into the year, but...
yes, I was your model.
We both had a taste for champagne in the early days.
We did indeed. It was fabulous.
Is there ice in that bucket?
I need one. I think we're going to have to get some.
It'll be time soon to crack open the champagne, especially if the Queen makes an action.
If she makes her entrance, we've all got to have a glass of... Absolutely.
Honestly, I've got... honestly, shivers. If she is there, it would just be so wonderful.
I think the fact that she's simply turned up, they've raised the royal standard, she's in residence, I think it's pretty good likely.
I think so too.
Yeah, it's quite
It's the finale.
I mean, she was at the start, wasn't she, for the Horse Guards parade, and she did brief on the balcony, but the roar, when she finally came out, the roar was terrific.
Yeah, we love her.
Will there ever be anyone like her? I mean,
well, I don't know. Listen, I think, to be honest, I'm warming to Charles.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason why, I think, is because when he does get on the throne, he won't be spending too much time on it, and then we can move to William and Kate. Yeah. But that's no. I'm being silly. No, the reality is I actually quite like Charles. I like the fact that he comes and speaks out a little bit about environmental stuff. He cares. And what he says is actually true. And he has brought those boys up pretty well in the end. I mean, even... I know Harry's been a bit funny, but actually most of the time he's been pretty good. And William, of course, is a wonderful example. And he's selected a brilliant woman for his wife, Kate. I mean...
Catherine, when you think talked about the future Queen, she has not put a step out of line.
That's what
she turns up always looking immaculate. She's like, she's a young queen. Do you know what I mean? She always looks thoroughbred. She looks well dressed, and the hair's done, and she's got a great way about her.
There's
No.
never really a hair out of place, is there?
No,
On the way
no.
she behaves and speaks. And how actually she coped with the Meghan, because obviously in that interview, Meghan, you know, said lies really about her, and you know, Kate couldn't answer back.
She didn't answer back. That's what she
She's
did.
not
She took
allowed to answer
Well, she
back,
took a leaf
but
out of the
she-
Queen's book and kept silent and said nothing.
Yeah.
And I think my favourite bit about Kate is the time when Wills thought that he was going to split up with her. So what she did was look fabulous, and you saw her at the helm of a boat, and she was, you know, they were rowing, and she just looked so fabulous. She was wearing, I remember she was wearing this all white outfit, and it was like, you know, a sort of tennis outfit. So you were wearing, it was a top and a skirt, and she just looked sensational.
Yeah.
When he
That's the way to do it.
back up.
Yeah. That's the way to do it.
Of course.
Now, are we at the end of the parade, because they're allowing the crowds to come down now, aren't they? So is that the end? It looks possibly the end of the parade, I think.
Well, it will be nearing the end of
Is
it,
it?
because obviously there's still quite a few bits and pieces to go on.
Oh,
We've
right.
got, hopefully the balcony scene as well. But the crowds are now coming into the areas that surrounds the palace, so they're really getting closer to it. So it does seem that
I'm wondering
Huge
now-
amounts of people, though.
I'm wondering now if the police have been tipped off to say she is going to appear, so they're allowing the crowds to go round.
It does
You
seem
know,
that way.
looks like.
It does seem that way, because obviously the procession now, it looks as though it has ended.
I've got a feeling she's going to be there.
I'm looking forward to it if she is, and we will raise a glass. And at home, if you're listening or watching, make sure you've prepared yourself with some champagne, because, I mean, I absolutely love the Paddington Bear segment, but that means...
Wasn't that divine?
But she knew that she wasn't going to be going there. That's it.
So that
she-
it was all
it's been
pre-done.
planned.
Yeah, but
I
it
think
was
all
But it
this
planned.
was
planned.
sweet and charming.
Oh.
And she was fun.
It was comedy, though. She was a great comedy actress, and she was doing with
do
the
you remember she did it
spoons.
with James Bond for the Olympics, didn't she? When she
Oh, that was brilliant.
That was fabulous.
Comic genius.
Do you remember
she
that?
is.
Yes, I do. 2012.
And she was sitting there at her desk. Hello, Mr. Bond, you know. Yes, and Mum, and he escorted her out, and then she suddenly jumped out of a helicopter.
But I know. But do you?
I know. It was really her, by the way.
No, I know, no, yeah.
But I wondered whether she knew she wouldn't be at these, like at
that's
the
what I'm saying.
Epsom, and then they had lovely footage of her with the horses.
Yeah,
And then
I think they planned it.
They
I think all
probably
of this was
planned it.
planned because they would have known. Well, let's not you know, give her too much to do, because we want her to be.
Let me
ready
just
for
tell
this
you,
bit.
every detail of everything is planned for all the members of the royal family. You saw the thing when Harry and Meghan sashayed down the aisle of St Paul's, and they got to the end, and I think they thought they were sitting in the aisle seat and one in, and the two princesses, Andrew's daughters, the princess, had to get up and let them shuffle in. So that was not planned, I would say. And I think they were going to sit on the other side of the aisle, but no, they were sitting on the other side of the non-working royals.
Yeah, of course. But
Well,
that
quite
makes sense.
rightly,
But I
of
like
course.
the way the Queen did that and just said,
Yeah.
working royals, because that's what it is. I mean, you know.
It
Yeah.
is. It's
And we were
true.
told in
I'm
advance
sorry.
that Prince Charles, if he, wants to slim down the whole thing for the balcony, and quite right.
That was the right thing to do. But she reads the room and she reads the people, which is so different from others.
And she's done a great job, 70 years. And who's done anything for 70 years? I mean,
Yeah.
Well, she's given her life, hasn't she? I mean, she really has. And an inspiration.
Here and abroad, foreign tours, endless travelling.
But can I say, it's very interesting. I talked to some soldiers yesterday who were on a show with me, and one of them said that out of the blue, she came to visit one of them after the Falklands without no
Any
press,
fanfare, no fanfare.
no one knew.
Yeah.
He'd had a really tough time, bad injury. Just 20 minutes before he knew something was happening because the nurses were puffing up the pillows. But he said she arrived, and there was no press, anything, and that's
And that's a touch of magic, because that chap, that soldier, will never forget that.
Oh no!
That she's taken time out of her schedule to do that as a private visit.
Private visit, yeah. And also Charles does the same. Charles does a lot. Like Diana did.
Diana was
my friend was
amazing.
had cystic fibrosis at the Brompton Hospital, and often she'd run in late at night, and make visits.
I think Catherine reminds me a little bit of Diana.
Oh, yes.
Her mannerisms, the way she carries herself, and her gentleness. If you look, she's got a gentle touch, and
Definitely.
she's got a really concerned.
I do
Genuine.
feel for those sometimes. Certain newspapers do big fashion spreads. This is what Diana wore, red. Catherine wore red, Diana wore blue, Catherine... And, you know, come and stop that nonsense now.
No.
Let's get over that.
And I wondered whether that used to upset Meghan with the comparisons with Kate and their wardrobes
I
and
think
who...
anything would upset her. I don't think... You know, I think that's thinking too far. I think that they're just saying how wonderful Catherine and
she is doing a fabulous job. There's no question.
Great job. I mean,
but it's effortless.
Meghan couldn't hack it. That's all it was. And, you know, sometimes when you don't do well or you're failing at something, you sort of throw all your toys out the pram to try and sort of cover up. And I think that's what went on here. She didn't realise.
But it's very different, I think, from being a celebrity.
There's something going on because we've got...
the crowd.
The crowd is making
Gosh,
noise now.
I really do feel the Queen could be coming.
I think we've got to... There may well be... The flags are all waving. There are people now dancing and on the stage and singing. There's about, let's see, about 6 or 7 musicians
I
there.
love that portrait in the background, don't you? That wonderful portrait. Yeah.
Now, this is on the... They're on the steps, aren't they? At the...
Yeah, right by the fountain.
Yeah, right by there. Yeah. And there's still...
There's a lot of excitement.
There is something is going to be happening. I can sense it.
There's a frisson in the air.
There is indeed, darling.
The crowd are getting a little bit excited here.
Yeah, I think
we can see flags are waving high now, and the crowd are moving quite quickly towards
they want to
the
get there.
palace
They want
now.
to see what's going on.
There is clearly something afoot. Everything that you're seeing here on GB News is live, so don't go anywhere, of course. We will stay with this and bring you all of the footage that we can with regard to this, the ending of the pageant, and hopefully the Queen coming out and giving us all away from...
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
We are. I feel it. And we're going to open that champagne if she does, I think.
We'll have to get some people in here to sort that out because I don't want to pop my eye out or break anything in here.
But it's lovely seeing people so happy. Look at them all dancing there. And everyone is, like, so excited. It is really fantastic after the couple of years we've had, isn't it, to have this?
It was much needed, wasn't it? My
Well,
goodness
it is.
me.
I mean, what we're seeing now is something that actually a year ago we wouldn't have even thought about.
No.
But yet the year before that we would never even thought that that wouldn't be something
We were
could
scared to go out. We couldn't meet people. We couldn't have lunch. We couldn't do anything.
No parties.
Business stopped virtually. Now we're trying to get everybody back into business, you know. It's
exactly. You couldn't stand next to anyone, you had to wear a mask.
Yeah.
It was so different.
Get away from me.
Yes, so, you know,
Have you sanitised your hands? Don't breathe on me, wear a mask.
No, this
Did you wash
is...
your hands?
This makes me so happy to see, though, everyone together. And
from all parts of the world.
Well, yeah, and you know, sometimes people say, "Oh, this is a racist country" and all that, and I'm thinking to myself, and I heard Zubi speaking on GB News. He's a rapper, and he said, "Compared to what?" And I say that very thing, compared to what? Because being a woman of colour or black, I think I'm allowed to say that about myself.
Are you sure you're allowed to say that?
Exactly, I think I still can. It's about myself, and I'm OK with it. I don't want anybody to be offended on my behalf because I'm not offended, just so you know. But, I mean, what he was saying was, compared to what? And from my experience, I've been all around the world. I've been to many different countries. I had more racism in Africa, more in Jamaica, and also in European countries than I have in... I hardly get any in this country. And actually, if somebody is being racially abusive towards me, which is very rare because they don't dare, because they can see the whites in my eyes and I'm not impressed with it. But if they are, they're usually from another country in this country saying something. And often it's an Eastern European or someone like that who's saying that. And that's my experience. So I'm speaking from experience. I'm not just making it up and saying it. But that, for me, is what I see. And yet not from British people because, well, we realise that if you're British, you can be absolutely any colour. And just because you're white doesn't mean you're British.
No.
But this country is fabulous. It
That's
really
good
is.
to hear.
I'm very proud to be British.
But look at those crowds. They are building big time around Buckingham Palace.
I don't think you're going to get a parade through that anymore. I think it's more or less done, isn't it?
Very exciting, though, I've got to say. I mean, this is really such a day to behold and to be alive to see this and witness this. And actually to have had a monarch who's been through with you throughout my life, because throughout my life, she's been the monarch. In fact, throughout all our lives, right?
Absolutely,
Maybe not yours.
But you know, sitting at my nana's house, remember seeing dishes and cups all in a row with her face on as a little girl growing up. You know, just looking up to her. And it's incredible.
Every time you put a stamp on a letter, there she is.
There she is.
When you spend some money, her face is on the money as well. She's got
I know, as I say, there's no one more portrayed than her. And Andy Warhol, so much on the Queen.
But I don't know, I live in Windsor and it is buzzing.
What a beautiful place.
It's buzzing. I mean, you know, the gift shops are groaning. Everybody's terribly, terribly excited. And the long walk, they're having their garden party in the long walk this afternoon.
Yes.
Which is a long table. So I hope they've all had a good time. I'm sure they have.
And the fireworks at Windsor are incredible.
It was wonderful. I was there when they lit the beacon, you know, right there. And, yeah, it was incredible.
Well,
Very exciting.
If you just joined us, it's fast approaching 5 o'clock. We are live here on GB News, on TV, online and on digital radio. My guests joining me today are David Emmanuel and, of course, Lizzie Cundy. I'm Nana Akua, and we are watching and listening to the Platinum Jubilee live. So if you have joined us, just stay with us, because I think that very shortly the Queen will be making that appearance. We think the standard has been raised. The flag wasn't blowing because there's no wind, but we're OK with that. But we are very excited, and the crowds are excited as well. So just keep your eyes on the screens and stay tuned to us, and we'll bring you everything that is happening. We're looking forward to get your champagne ready. People seem to be joyous.
Is production opening glasses? Where are we?
Well, I don't know.
I don't know about that.
We're expecting it. You know, we're hoping that we can enjoy ourselves here in the studio.
Yeah.
We want you to enjoy yourselves at home. And it's been a great day as well, because we've had the lunches. Did you get out to a street party at all yesterday? Did anybody here get out to a street party?
No, in Windsor they were happening today. Most of them are happening today. The local pub was decking out Union Jacks everywhere.
Yes.
And I noticed on the long walk, everybody was starting to put their food out, you know. It's wonderful.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be honest, my party started Thursday and has kept going until today, so I'm lucky to be alive.
Well, it's great, isn't it? And I think a lot of people take tomorrow off, seeing that there'll be no transport into central London for those who are going that way.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that also returning to the panel, Aldo Zilli and also Danny Kelly joining us here on GB News. Hi. You two sit so close together, you can't tell you apart.
Well,
they are twins.
The radio audience, we're both bald but very handsome individuals.
They are very handsome individuals.
And modest.
And modest. Yeah.
So modest.
Nothing like blowing your own trumpet.
Well, I didn't hear any detraction from that comment.
So Danny, what have you've been watching it out there in the wings? What are you making of the celebration?
I'm made up. It looks like the Queen is going to make an appearance, which I think will be thrilling. I mean, how many tens of thousands of people?
Yeah.
And this is day 4 of the celebration. And look, I am so proud to be British. I really am. And there'll be people out there that say, oh, pride causes lots of problems. Forget them for these 4 days of celebration. Let's celebrate about what it is, about Great Britain. It's a fabulous country.
It is, Aldo.
Well, 45 years ago when I came here on holiday for a week, I'm so glad I stayed all that time. We couldn't get rid of it.
We couldn't get rid of you, Aldo.
I came here.
What was the reason?
I was on my way to. I was on my way somewhere else. I was on my way to Sweden, I think. I can't remember. But anyway, I stayed because I met a young lady, and obviously I'm not with that young lady anymore. But,
I'm glad you told me.
But yeah, and then I started working here. And I saw the opportunity of Italian food making it big in this country when you could only find olive oil in chemists.
So did you set up a restaurant straight away?
So I set up nothing at the time, but I started working in kitchens, in restaurants, and then I set up my first restaurant in Soho, age 25.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, with the mafia still going strong there at the time. At the time, I had to pay the Maltese mafia £500 a week cash.
Really? So there was
if I wanted to keep open the restaurant. So,
is that real?
Yeah. So Soho was not what it is now. It was it was a village. It was a very, very dangerous village.
We've got some troops.
I survived.
Oh, we will.
The band has arrived.
A band has arrived.
And they've not started playing yet, but they are there. And it feels as though something is definitely in the air and that we are...
Oh, my life story was much more interesting than that.
No, it was interesting, but we've got big screens as well in front of the palace. So there's these big screens with images now of the Queen and obviously a history of what she's been throughout her life. And there are pictures of her and lots of memories, clearly. This is
But it must be quite emotional for her because she lost obviously her mother, her sister, Princess Margaret, her husband. It must be very emotional for her seeing all of this.
And of course, she
footage.
lost them very close together as well, which is very difficult.
Lord Mountbatten, and so much tragedy she's had herself.
Yeah, and what we're seeing on the screen it seems to be a history of the ages of what the Queen's been through.
Yes, going through.
It's like a sort of montage.
What a great life story.
Yeah, what
a great life.
Yeah.
You know, there's got to be a film, isn't it?
Well, I'd love her to write her own
proper film
autobiography.
Yes.
I'd like an autobiography written by the Queen.
By the Queen.
Even if someone goes to write, but she is the one that is actually there, rather than a biographer doing it. Because I think that the story she would tell would be just fascinating.
Well, just think of all the prime ministers and the heads of state that she's met over the years. Extraordinary.
Exactly.
But she's got some. Oh, look at this. Looks important.
We've got some troops marching now.
Yeah.
They're doing very smart marching as well.
Oh, I'm feeling excited.
May I just ask the panel, have you ever stayed in Windsor and on a Saturday morning seen the lads marching from the barracks to the Windsor Castle?
I live in Windsor.
Oh,
so
David.
I see it. Yeah, absolutely.
What an experience.
Oh,
that is,
and
isn't it?
Changing of the guard.
Changing of the guard, that's
and the band playing. It's quite emotional.
Yes.
They march out to the barracks, they come up the hill to Windsor Castle. It all happens and then out they come. And people queue for hours.
Yeah.
All the time.
And they come from all over the world.
Ed Sheeran,
don't
that
they?
looks to me like Ed Sheeran on the stage. I mean,
oh, is it?
Because he's planned to play. He was on the stage holding a guitar. He's now... this is where I should have brought my glasses.
Yes, I'm like...
He's probably going to use that guitar.
Yes, well...
Hang on, they're showing the windows.
Showing the net curtains.
Yeah.
Now this was going to be...
I've been behind those windows.
Are the windows?
Isn't it amazing that David has been behind
I've been behind those windows.
Well, you've been in the palace, right?
Oh, yeah, several times, but...
I had lunch in the palace, actually.
Yes.
Oh, here we go. Who else has been in there?
Yeah. It was a very, very big day for me. You know, you can imagine.
Yeah.
There she is.
The Queen is here.
Fabulous.
Bravo, in emerald green.
She's
Fabulous tailored coat with a matching hat.
She looks amazing.
She looks fantastic.
We've got William and Kate on the balcony as well. And Cameron Walker can go straight down.
Lost comms. I've lost comms.
Walker and find out what's going on the balcony.
Nice way.
Oh.
Well timed.
Cameron has been highly recommended. Larry, did you get that? You told me when to see Cameron. Larry, did you get that? You told me when to see Cameron. I'll see you.
Her Majesty the Queen there and senior members of the royal family. The third balcony appearance of this Platinum Jubilee bank holiday weekend. 4 generations of the British royal family. Her Majesty the Queen, the Prince of Wales, Duchess of Cornwall, Virginia Duchess of Cambridge, and for Cambridge's 3 children, Prince George, who will one day be king, Princess Charlotte, and 4-year-old Prince Louis. A very short balcony appearance. It looks like Her Majesty is now leaving the Buckingham Palace balcony. Short but sweet, but what a way to round off this spectacular Bank Holiday Platinum Jubilee weekend, celebrating a remarkable woman who has been on the throne for 70 years, who has served this country and the Commonwealth for 70 years.
Well, everybody, that was the Platinum Jubilee pageant. Have you enjoyed yourselves this afternoon? Big thank you to all of you for helping to make this day so very special. We have one more little treat for you right now. Up here on the stage is the cast from Mamma Mia!
I mean, what an amazing day this turned out to be. The crowds have been allowed from the Mall to come into the main kind of roundabout area outside Victoria Memorial, just outside Buckingham Palace. It looks like the song Dancing Queen has just started here on the stage outside Buckingham Palace. There must be at least, I don't know, 3,000 people or so around Buckingham Palace. It was a very short balcony appearance. Her Majesty started the weekend with trooping the colour, 2 balcony appearances due to mobility problems and perhaps pacing herself for the finale. She pulled out of the St Paul's Cathedral service of Thanksgiving on Friday. She also chose not to attend the Derby at Epsom Downs, something she's only missed 3 times during the course of her reign. But now here on Sunday, 5th of June 2022, Her Majesty appeared once again on the balcony of Buckingham Palace with her immediate family to celebrate and rejoice with the people of Great Britain here. And what a weekend this has been, trooping the colour. We've had the beacon lighting ceremony, 3,000 beacons lit right across the world, the principal beacon of which was lit here at Buckingham Palace, and Her Majesty symbolically started that lighting of the Jubilee beacons at Windsor Castle on Thursday evening. We then had the service of Thanksgiving at St Paul's Cathedral, where Her Majesty did not appear, but the Prince of Wales took her place. He represented her at the service. We had the Duke and Duchess of Sussex at that service as well. They had flown over from California for this weekend. It is the first time that the Sussexes have introduced Her Majesty the Queen to their baby daughter Lilibet, who turned just 1 year old yesterday on Saturday. We then had the Derby at Epsom Downs. Princess Anne represented Her Majesty, and then right across the country here today we've had big Jubilee lunches. GBNews was in Codswall in the West Midlands, and there have been around, I think it's tens of thousands of Jubilee lunches right across the country celebrating Her Majesty the Queen's extraordinary 70-year reign. And just now we've had the Platinum Jubilee pageant here at Buckingham Palace, representing Her Majesty the Queen's reign, and then a final balcony appearance from Her Majesty to wrap off the weekend.
Of course, that's Cameron Walker. He's there live in the Mall. Our reporter Paul Hawkins is also live there, so let's go over and have a chat with him as well. Paul will say something eventually, Paul.
We wish you a very safe onward journey.
Hi Nana. Yeah, we're on the mall at the moment. I don't know whether you can hear me. It's very noisy down here. Lots of people here giving a massive cheer. Just have a look at this when the Queen appeared. We'll talk to some people about that in just a moment. But let's talk to these people over here actually. Excuse me. Just very quickly, what did you make of when the Queen arrived?
I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah? Yeah, how did you feel?
Yeah, really good to be a part of it. So,
yeah. Have you enjoyed it today?
Yeah, it's been really good.
What was the best bit?
I think seeing the Golden State carriage was the best bit, the Golden State carriage, so yeah.
Yeah. Anything else for you?
I liked the buses with all the people.
I think people liked the buses with the celebs on, didn't they? Yeah, what are you going to do now? How are you going to top this?
Don't know.
It's definitely something to remember, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, great. Yeah. Thank you for speaking to us. People like that really happy to be here on the Mall with us today. And if you just have a look, there's this like wave of people moving up Pall Mall. It's incredible. It's a kind of like a wave of humanity, of Britishness sweeping towards the palace. Still, even though we're finished, even though Ed Sheeran's finished and the Queen's been out on the balcony, people are still moving this direction. If we just pivot and look the other way towards the palace, we come over here. Excuse me, can we just ask you quickly, what did you make of Her Majesty? Majesty appearing on the balcony.
I wanted to cry. I wanted to cry.
You were crying?
Yeah.
She's not a chump.
I got all chumped up. How silly. Yeah.
Well, it's not that silly. I guess that emotion comes through because she means so much to you. Just give us an idea of what she means to you.
That's just everything that this country stands for, isn't she, really?
Yeah.
I think, and it was just amazing to see it for the last 2 minutes, really, but at least she made it.
Yeah, exactly. And we got the wave. A couple of waves.
Yeah, and I videoed it.
Yeah, well done. And that guy with the guitar on before him, what's his name? He was pretty good, wasn't he? June, is that his name, isn't it? He was pretty good, wasn't he?
He was amazing, that's what I came for, as well as the Queen.
As well as the Queen. Have you had a good day?
Lovely, fabulous.
Where have you come from?
Derbyshire.
Derbyshire, okay, yeah. I mean, occasions like this don't come along very often, do they?
We're not going to see it again, are we?
No.
Unfortunately, Charlie.
Yeah.
Well, if Charlie's that we want.
Well, indeed. Thank you for speaking to us. Really appreciate it. Thank you. There you go. That lady, really tearful. Welling up once the Queen appeared on the balcony. Everyone was waiting for it. And when it did happen, there were loads of cheers. But really wonderful feeling here on the Mall this afternoon.
Well, listen, Paul, it looks sensational. People have clearly been enjoying themselves. Thank you so much for that. That's Paul Hawkins, is our GB News national reporter out there in the Mall. And if you've just joined us, I'm Nana Akua. This is GB News on TV, online and on digital radio. Joining me this afternoon, I have my panel with me, Lizzie Cundy. Also joining me is Aldo Zilli. We've got Danny Kelly and also David Emmanuel. That's not Danny, that is. And David Emmanuel, there you go. I know, if you're not watching live on TV, they look kind of similar. So you can catch up on the GB News app where you can find everything that's been going on. Now, we've seen this amazing Jubilee celebration. It was fabulous to see the Queen. Aldo, seeing the Queen like that, she was there on the balcony. Did you think she would do it? Did you think she'd be out there?
I was so pleased, to be honest, to see her because what has been going on, and she wasn't well after the first day, and for us to all see her now there and with all her family, she must be so proud of what's been going on in the last 4 days, and so are we all. The whole world's proud.
Yeah, it makes you feel proud to be British, Danny.
Yeah, it does. And she looked fit and healthy, and she looked wonderful in emerald green. I'd love to know, maybe ask David why emerald green. Do you have a view on that?
No, Her Majesty always wears bright colours, so she stands out. So you can see, if she was in beige or cream, you wouldn't notice it. Do you know what I mean? She always makes a point, as always has done. Hardy Amies did her clothes in the early days and continued. And we've seen her in shocking pink, we've seen her in shocking turquoise over the years, because she always said, I'm a queen, I've got to be seen. And we could certainly see her on the balcony in vivid emerald green. It was fabulous. I mean, you think she's 96.
It's incredible.
So once that standard went up, I thought, she's in the house. The boss has arrived back. She's probably come up from Windsor, quickly done the M4. And what have we seen? She probably had to powder her nose. She probably had to get changed. And then arrived on the balcony. I think it was a wonderful finale of a 4-day event.
Yes.
We saw her at the beginning and we saw her at the end. How fabulous. And I think in the studio, we'll all remember we were here when that happened.
What an iconic moment. That will never, ever happen again.
Well done, GBNews.
And I think she wanted to say thank you to everyone. And we wanted to thank her, which we do.
And then you saw some of the people there getting quite emotional, but it is actually quite emotional, isn't it?
I feel it.
I know, I could see you about to cry, Lizzie.
I know. I was like, David, have you got any glue for my eyes?
Darling, don't do it on camera.
They're not quite peeling off. She's been partying, this girl.
She has.
Well, it has been a weekend of celebration.
Party, of course,
yes,
of course. And we needed to escape, didn't we, from all the madness in the world, the war, COVID.
Well, let's not say the P word or the B word.
No, OK.
Let's stay away from that.
To ask David, she always has a handbag with her, even though
I didn't notice that one. Was it green? Was it
always?
Why? And
well,
she made a joke with the Paddington.
No, a handkerchief, possibly some smelling salts, a lipstick. But it's one of her things of saying, when she's in a social occasion, if she turns the handbag behind her, it means move on. People will move her on. Because we can't have her getting bored. Can we?
Smelling salts. Is prone to fainting?
No, because, there's moments. I deal with brides all the time these days. Well, of course, brides get overheated, overexcited. They faint. They've had too much champagne, possibly before the wedding. Quick whiff. they're back on form. You know, it can happen.
It's a bit like...
Can you imagine her going out every day of her life, every day of her life, in front of thousands of people? Exhausting.
Yeah, you have to have a symbol that says, get these people away from me. So gently with
the
the
handbag moves.
Just gently behind, not get them away from me.
It's one of the signs.
It's very good. The amount of people she's had to shake hands with and talk to, and, you know... You probably do need some
it is tiring, isn't it? Because you think when you're travelling it's not, but it is, isn't it? If you travel somewhere, the fact that you've been travelling is tiring.
Well, you know
you're not
yourself,
really doing anything.
if you're doing a book signing or you're doing a social event, you know yourself that you can only speak to so many people for so long, and then you think, oh, what, you know, someone needs to get me out of it. And that's what the Queen is no different. She's a human. She's a superhuman, I think.
She's a superhuman.
But and she's a beautiful human, and I think that we should celebrate her for the rest of our lives as well.
Absolutely.
And on some occasions, changing three or four times a day. Can you imagine? She's up doing her boxes, then she might have somebody for lunch, and then in the afternoon, who knows? And then perhaps when she was fit and well, she goes to the theatre or to a premiere, change again. So a lot of changing of clothes, you know.
Although I quite like changing clothes and wearing outfits. And I can see I've got a friend over there that would enjoy it as well, Lizzie.
But would you want to do it every day of your life for 70 years?
I'd be all right with it. I mean, she wears some fabulous clothes and hats and bags and shoes.
Yeah. Oh. She has always turned out immaculately. And I love the diamond brooch.
She looked lovely.
Oh, yeah.
She looked lovely.
And the string
only you could spot a diamond brooch from there.
Diamond brooch.
Well, listen, if you've just joined us, welcome on board. Where on earth have you been? Why would you miss it? I'm sure you haven't. You're with me. I'm Nana Akua. This is GB News on TV, online and on digital radio. Still to come, we'll continue the coverage of the pants. Stay with us.
We are GB News.
We're right across this great nation.
On TV,
on radio, on digital.
Absolutely everywhere. We don't talk down to you.
we embrace all voices.
With honest and civilised conversation.
We're not part of the establishment.
We're one of you.
And we're only getting started.
Join us on GB News,
the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Every morning from 6 o'clock, we'll wake you up with GB News Breakfast with all the stories you didn't know from the night before.
So whether it's serious news, entertainment, or your own views from all over our great nation, we're here to kick off your day with a smile.
The national media should be reflecting and reporting what's happening here.
You will notice the northwestern accents.
Whether you're with us on TV, radio, or online, every morning, it's breakfast from 6 a.m. Hope you can join us.
Join us for Ministry of Defence, the comedy panel show that's just like the news, in that the left fights the right and it doesn't really seem to matter who wins. We cover the big stories. It was in fact a troop of baboons and not angry vegans.
I like that.
And the really important stories.
Fat naked cow gets stuck in swimming pool.
It's a headline in a lot of local newspapers.
We're on the same team, Nick. Yeah, but I'm just helping you.
Join us for Ministry of Defence, Saturday nights, 8 o'clock on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
Good afternoon. It is fast approaching 22 minutes after 5 o'clock. This is GB News on TV, online and on digital radio. We are the People's Channel. I'm Nana Akua. Now, I'm joined by so many wonderful people this afternoon, but also joining me today is royal biographer Angela Levin. Now, she's currently working on the Duchess of Cornwall. Angela, you've come back from a lunch. You've just been lunching with Camilla. My goodness, what did you talk about? What happened? Talk to me. Why were you there?
I was there because I'm writing her biography, and I insisted that before it went to the publishers that I covered this weekend because I thought it was going to be so extraordinary and
Very
wonderful.
good, I like that.
So they agreed that they would hold back and that I would do that. And I asked if I could go along to this one of the big lunches, her big lunch. And it's all done from Eden Projects, which is in Cornwall. And it was absolutely, completely wonderful. Even though there was bits of rain and cold, the atmosphere between people, and a lot of the people who were there as well as me were from the Royal Voluntary Service. And these are people who'd helped people in difficulties during the pandemic, young, old, every colour you could imagine, lots of different ages. And there were 450 of us there. And because these people had been really kind, one of them said, I waited 4.5 hours in a queue at the chemist to get something for this 94-year-old lady because she couldn't get out. They were doing simple jobs that actually were vital to those people. And they were so lovely. You know, they're not like journalists and quite sharp.
What do you mean? What are you talking
about? Myself.
Journalists,
you know.
oh, he's talking about you, that's fine.
I'm talking about me. They were really genuinely nice people who looked you in the eye and told you about the things that they've done, but very modestly. So it was just incredibly enjoyable, and the food was wonderful.
What did you have? What give us some? We're all hungry here. We've got cakes.
Well, let me tell you about what was even better than the food, what we didn't eat. There's a huge sort of almost like a tapestry that was going along a very long table, which had everything you could ever want on a buffet. You know, little sausages, hops of coffee, cake, a big cake, several tiers. None of it was edible because it was all made by stitching and making it... No, well, there's lots of food as well.
What's the point of a cake you can't eat? I mean, you know, what is
Well, we did eat.
You did eat.
Every big lunch, you have a huge cake, and you could choose whether you want it with a chocolate one or a other one, and they packed it in a nice box, and I took them home. So it was really lovely. And Prince Charles was with her, and they were both in an extremely good mood. And some of the people who'd been helping in their voluntary way had helped Prince Charles when he became an army officer, and people kept going up to him and saying, do you remember me? So he had a lovely time showing a picture when he was studying to be, you know, to go into the army. So it was just a tremendous warmth, which I think is something that has covered the whole weekend. There is warmth between people, and people who haven't spoken to anyone for a very long time properly, socially. They were so relieved that they could now. This was the way of going from feeling uncomfortable because you've been on your own, how do you communicate, to chatting and having a lovely time and making instant friends.
Well, do you know what? I mean, what I will say about this weekend, because I moved to the street, I don't really know anybody on the street. There was a street party, people sitting out there, and I got to know all my neighbours this weekend, and that was wonderful, because I don't know what I would have done, or just knock on the house and say, hello, hi.
Yes.
But this is nice, that this particular situation, and there were people who just moved in on the street, and people who'd been there for years. One person had been there for 20 years. I had never seen them before, and this is a really nice uniting thing, isn't it?
Well, this was just like that, and it was very healing, I think, that you can still talk to people you've never met. But I also think that neighbours are incredibly important. I went to one...
You're going to say incredibly nosy.
No, I went to one next road to where I live yesterday, and they were delightful. I hadn't met them. This one had moved in, that one had moved in, and we were all so pleased to meet each other. Again, all sorts of ages and types, but I think local neighbours are terribly important, so it's a great relief to see them all again.
Yeah, it's good. And you're writing Camilla's biography.
Yes.
So how far are you in it? When will it be?
Well, it's finished, apart from this chapter or two that I will write. I haven't decided yet because I've just come back from it. But it will come out in the autumn.
Did she say anything to you? What did she say?
Well, she said lots of things. We have to buy.
Tell me what. No, tell me. No, go on.
Very good.
Go on. Now tell me. What give me one thing she said.
I'll leave. Well, she said to me today, Angela, you're still writing. She said, I've got to be nice to you, haven't I?
Yes.
Is it clean?
Of course it is, Camilla.
Of course it's clean.
Camilla's very well behaved.
Yes.
She's the head of one of the arthritis charities, isn't she?
Yes, osteoporosis, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. She's done lots of charity work. I mean, the title is Camilla, Duchess of Cornwall, from outcast to future Queen Consort. And if you think that's the journey she's had, from being called the most hated woman in the UK to being really much loved by very many people now. And the Queen has completely done a turnaround. She wouldn't speak to her for a long time because she didn't feel she was right for the heir to the throne, as she was a woman of experience. I put it in that sort of context. And, you know, she's graciously accepted her because she sees that she's hardworking, she's dedicated to the monarchy, and she's made Charles a very happy man, and therefore he's much better at doing his job. So it's a huge journey, and you have to admire a woman who could cope with something like that.
She's incredible, isn't she?
Yes.
I mean, to be fair, I'm bringing my panel, though, so joining me also is Lizzie Cundy, also joining me David Emanuel and Aldo Zilli. You know, what are your take on this? Camilla was ostracised initially.
Well, I had my ups and downs with Camilla. I was a huge fan of Princess Diana. In my early days in this country, Princess Diana, for me, was a big princess. I was a big fan and I loved her. And then, you know, so I had my ups and downs with Camilla because of it, I think, in my head. But we've grown in my family to love her. And like you rightly said, she's made Prince Charles probably a better person and a very happy person.
He seems happy, doesn't he?
So that's the ups, you know, and there's no downs for her anymore, I hope.
Now, David, have you met Camilla?
No, I haven't actually, but like Aldo, I had very mixed emotions. Obviously, you know, being Diana's designer, I knew her extremely well. And after the wedding and to foreign tours, you get to know your client very well. So obviously, when stories were revealed and you didn't know if they were true stories or not stories, and you get mixed emotions, don't you? And then, of course, the shock when Diana when she died. I ended up with a huge pneumonia. I was a wreck. But I think, as Angela was saying, I take the point, I think through clever PR and through careful, she would turn up at certain occasions and the right occasions. And then people did turn around and started to like her and to love her. You know, I mean, steadfast. You know, she doesn't put her foot wrong, you know, and again, she's got that same situation as the Duke had, walking behind the Queen. She walks slightly behind Charles and doesn't take centre stage. He's the star of the show, of course. But I think we've all learned, and I think this whole Jubilee has been a learning curve for all of us. Because she wanted, the Queen, it said very openly, she wanted everybody to get on. She wanted everybody to share in the celebrations. She wanted to pull people together. And I think people now, having come through this experience, will rethink, I'd like to think, will rethink what they think about Camilla and the rest of the royal family. And yeah, it's been incredible.
Now, Lizzie, I know that you said you met the Queen, or sort of, what about Camilla? Have you met Camilla?
I've been on many charity events, and for me, she was just genuine, great fun. We asked her to dance with Craig Revel Hall from Strictly, which she did. And I just likeable, and I'm very different to the perception. But as you said, and Aldo, big fan of Diana. And when I met her, she was just a lovely person.
Did you meet Diana? You're saying when you met Diana?
Well, I met Diana in the Brompton Hospital because she was a patron to the charity that I looked after. My friend suffered from cystic fibrosis. So I had met Diana. But Camilla was great fun and very, very kind, and would chat to everyone so easily, so likeable. And I thought, I didn't know whether that really got across in the early days, but I think now everyone has accepted her.
But I think also her transformation. I mean, I'm not here just to talk about frocks. But if you remember when she came onto the scene, she was kind of dowdy. Now she's gone through this extraordinary. She's chopped the hair's blonder, and she's looking great in clothes. And it's enormous transformation. It's good to see.
I think also hard work pays off.
It does, doesn't it?
But I think you know, none of this is phony. That none of this is trying to make her. You know, the PRs haven't sort of made her a model human being. I mean, it's her that was hidden away that they've helped her bring out. She's not at all phony. The people I spoke to says that she hasn't changed at all. She's changed what she does. She works incredibly hard. She's almost as bad a workaholic as Prince Charles is now, having been brought up not to seek a career, because her mother felt that she should get married and have children and know how to arrange flowers nicely. You know, so it's just what's come out of her.
Well, we're all very excited when your book comes out very soon, because this was the last part of it that you were going to write.
It takes a while for the printers to deal with it.
Does it? So
choosing
roughly
the pictures and all that.
Give us a clue then.
I can't actually, because there's a problem with the ink.
Oh no!
Due to the Ukraine war.
Oh God!
Due to the Ukraine war, and there's a lot, and Americans pinching a lot of English ink from the printers. But it'll be sorted out. So I don't absolutely.
Is it printed in England, or do you know where it's printed?
You can do it as a Kindle, can't you? Initially,
yeah.
Do a Kindle, do digital. But I like the hard copy. I love a book. You know.
Yes.
Well, listen.
You want to have it.
Well, you know. Well, hopefully I'll get a copy signed.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Angela. I'll ask her on
You've done
camera
it on
today,
air.
so
How can I refuse it?
It's a contract now, Angela. It's a contract.
Okay, I'm very happy to give you one.
Angela,
well, listen, Angela.
Is it hard, though, to get, you know, to write anything bad? You can't really, can you?
No, of course you can.
No.
No, she won't. Well, she can. Oh, good. Well, I'm looking forward to reading that. Angela, thank you so much for joining us and telling us all about that book. It's Camilla. That's what it's called, right?
No, it's Camilla, Duchess of Cornwall, from outcast to future royal consort.
Looking forward to that.
Got a long title.
I can't wait for that. Angela, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much. Well, listen, if you've just joined us, where have you been? This is GB News. We are the People's Channel. We are live on TV, online and digital radio. Coming up, we'll check in with our royal reporter, Cameron Walker, one more time. Then you'll hear the thoughts of my panel, columnist and model Lizzie Cundy, broadcaster Danny Kelly and celebrity chef Aldo Zilli. And I believe Aldo will have some food for us. I'm going to say also David Emmanuel, if we can beg him to stay, he may. But first, let's get your latest news headlines.
Thanks, Nana. Good afternoon. It's 35 minutes past 5. I'm Bethany Elsey in the GB newsroom. Our top story. Her Majesty the Queen has appeared on the Buckingham Palace balcony for the national anthem to round off the celebrations for her Platinum Jubilee. Today's festivities involved a 2-mile-long carnival procession, which started at the House of Guards parade and ended outside the palace. Some 10,000 people were involved, as well as the Gold State coach, which carried the Queen to her coronation. Meanwhile, millions have gathered for street parties across the country, with more than 85,000 big Jubilee lunches being held. Celebrations involved food, bunting and dancing in thousands of locations across the UK. Well, this was the Castle in Donington in Leicestershire, just one of many across the country. In other news, a man has died after falling into the River Thames when police tried to detain him with the use of a taser. Officers were called yesterday to Chelsea Bridge Road after reports of a man shouting in the street with a screwdriver. The man, in his 40s, was rescued by the local lifeboat and taken to hospital in a critical condition, but he later died. The police watchdog says an investigation is underway. And Ukraine's football team began their match against Wales draped in their country's flag. The World Cup playoff is underway in Cardiff with the score at 1-0 to Wales. The winner of the match will take the final spot in the competition in Qatar later this year. on TV, online and DAB+ radio. This is GB News. We'll get back to Nana in just a moment.
We are GB News.
We're right across this great nation.
On TV,
on radio, on digital.
Absolutely everywhere. We don't talk down to you.
we embrace all voices.
With honest and civilised conversation.
We're not part of the establishment.
We're one of you.
And we're only getting started.
Join us on GB News,
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Every morning from 6 o'clock, we'll wake you up with GB News Breakfast with all the stories you didn't know from the night before.
So whether it's serious news, entertainment, or your own views from all over our great nation, we're here to kick off your day with a smile.
And the national media should be reflecting and reporting what's happening here.
You will notice the northwestern accents.
Whether you're with us on TV, radio, or online, every morning, it's breakfast from 6 a.m. Hope you can join us.
Join us for Ministry of Offence, the comedy panel show that's just like the news, in that the left fights the right and it doesn't really seem to matter who wins. We cover the big stories. It was in fact a troop of baboons and not angry vegans.
I like that.
And the really important stories.
Fat naked cow gets stuck in swimming pool.
It's a headline in a lot of local newspapers. Yeah.
We're on the same team, Nick. Yeah, but I'm just helping you.
Join us for Ministry of Offence, Saturday nights, 8 o'clock on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
This is GB News on TV, online and on digital radio. Remember, stay with us. You can have a great Jubilee party, hopefully, where you are, and we'll have some food out there. But first, we're going to go quickly over to Cameron Walker. He's our royal correspondent. He's out there. He's there at Buckingham Palace, and find out what exactly is going on now. Cameron, what's happening? Talk to us.
Well, Nana, Her Majesty the Queen has made her third and final balcony appearance of her Platinum Jubilee weekend, celebrating 70 years on the throne. And she appeared for this final time with 4 generations of the British royal family. Prince Charles, the heir to the throne, his wife, the Duchess of Cornwall, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, and then, of course, their 3 children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. And I think this perhaps symbolises the continuation of the monarchy in the future. And then, of course, we knew that Her Majesty was pacing herself because she appeared twice on that balcony at Trooping the Colour, and then she symbolically led the lighting of those Platinum Jubilee beacons on Thursday evening, 3,000 of them lit across the country. And she then pulled out of St Paul's Cathedral service of Thanksgiving on the Friday because we understand she experienced some discomfort on Thursday. She also chose not to attend the Derby at Epsom Downs either. But this whole weekend has very much been a celebration of Her Majesty's reign. There have not been any kind of upstaging from any other members of the royal family, except perhaps maybe cheeky Prince Louis on the Thursday on Trooping the Colour during that fly past where he puts his hands over his ears. But it's the first time ever that we have celebrated a Platinum Jubilee, so I think today is very much a historic day for Great Britain and indeed the Commonwealth and maybe perhaps the world. Now, as far as I'm aware, Her Majesty the Queen is still in the building in Buckingham Palace behind me. The Royal Standard is still flying high, so perhaps she is spending a bit of time with her family at a small reception or tea or something. But it is June, and in August we are expecting Her Majesty to undertake her annual 6-week trip to her private estate at Balmoral to rest. And no doubt it's a very much well-earned summer holiday.
There's so much going on there, and we will come back to you and see, if there's anything else happening. but we're really having a great time here in the studio as well. And as actually, you can never have a Jubilee party without some great cuisine. So here at GB News, we've enlisted the help of one of our panellists, celebrity chef Aldo Zilli, to bring us some delicious food. Aldo, talk to us. What have you brought us?
Is that why you keep inviting me?
Yeah, well, you're definitely coming back if this is any good.
I have a feeling that that's the only reason I get invited to GB News.
So what have you got?
So I made some Nana's meatballs.
Yes, it's proper meat, isn't it?
Very,
it's not
very
oh, God.
secretive recipe, but I'll tell you, it's got mushrooms, it's got some guanciale, which is a pork cheek. It's got a lovely stock, beef stock, and then I've barbecued some sausages, Italian bangers and mash here. Some mash with parmesan. The mash has got parmesan inside, butter, little cream. Then I also made a dessert with strawberries. It's zuppa inglese, which is, my version of trifle. Yeah.
So go on, serve yourself up.
So now I'm going to serve myself because you're all eating and it doesn't look very good.
This is good.
Chef,
It's really good. I want to tip my plate and show you, but I can't.
If you can pass this onion.
Oh, onions.
This is
oh, look at this. Oh, my God.
This is an onion,
look at that,
sweet
babe. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, don't do it like that.
Aldo,
Oh, it looks
how long
lovely.
have I known you? I don't know
Yeah,
how long
that's
I've
why I
known
put
you,
something
but
there, yeah.
always Aldo has the best meatballs ever.
There you go.
It's been many years. 20 years?
This is amazing.
Meatballs is one of your favourite, isn't it?
Do you know something I've noticed that's happened as I've got older? When I eat food, it sort of gets stuck on the side of my mouth and it stays there for a bit. And then my mouth gets very dry. And
I'm very impressed that you can eat and talk.
no, I can easily do that. That's not a problem. Go on.
Nothing says 70 years of Her Majesty than Italian meatballs. I couldn't think of anything more.
Well, this is a little bit of
I'm sure she'd
Brittany,
love it.
isn't it? It's bangers and mash, Brittany.
Oh, yeah, bangers and mash, but you've done a sort of Italian sort of version of it.
My Italian version.
God, it's nice, isn't it?
Aldo, have you ever cooked for any royalty? I know you've cooked for all the stars.
I used to cook for Prince Edward on a regular basis every week when he worked for Andrew Lloyd Webber in the West End. So he used to come for lunch and he had his sausage pasta with fennel and he loved it. That was his favourite and that's why I'm kind of recreated that sausage thing here.
It's delicious, I have to say.
It is excellent.
And it's very British meal, sausages and mash.
I love bangers and mash.
Beautiful.
What about
It's like a
vegetables?
Sunday lunch.
There's no vegetables in this, though, Aldo.
There's mushrooms in here that you haven't had any, but there's no greens, I'm afraid.
Oh, don't worry about that. I don't care about that.
I couldn't stretch that far.
Aldo,
The budget wouldn't let me.
Aldo, what makes an Italian sausage differ from a normal, everyday British sausage?
Well, we use a lot of fennel, we use a lot of herbs, we use a lot of garlic. You know, in the modern days now, with sausages, in the old days, British sausage was quite boring, if you excuse my ignorance. But when I first came to this country, sausages were like sausage, you know, with no flavour. Now, there's very little difference because, you know, the British butchers are making great sausages.
What percentage meat content? Because you're looking for, say, 80 or 85%, aren't you?
He's an old chef.
Listen to him.
He used to be a chef.
I used to be a chef.
I know you did, yeah. Well, yeah. Did you anything get out of the kitchen or did you eat it all on the... You could talk.
186-mile round trip to be abused every Sunday.
Yeah, I know.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
And you take it on the chin very well.
He's great. No, we know you. I love you, Danny.
About 85% to answer your question.
No, this is delicious.
It is fantastic.
So hopefully people at home are eating and enjoying themselves as well. You know, I hope you are. Just because I don't like those cookery programmes when I'm watching people make food because I start salivating and then realise that my food will never be as good as the food that I've just seen. It's horrible, isn't it?
That's why I'm friends with Aldo.
Yeah. Have you done a cookery programme before?
Yeah, I've done many.
Really? Like your own show? That should be Aldo.
I had Aldo's Perfect Pasta. I was one of the first that started the Food Network. And I did 6 of my very own shows on that. And then I wrote 9 cookery books.
Oh, really?
I've wrote an autobiography, which you obviously haven't read because you don't even know about it. And I was sending it.
Listen to that, he's getting me back. Would you sign it as well, Aldo?
I will sign it for free.
That's very good of
How
you.
about that?
That's lovely. That's
it
so
won't
kind.
be as good as that lady's writing.
No,
but-
of course it will be. Angela Levin, so it'll be fantastic. I'm sure it will be. I mean, look, people at home hopefully are enjoying and having a nice little feast as well. And it's been such a good weekend, really, hasn't it? We've had so much fun, and just having. I think it's quite nice to have a moment to just take stock of things and realise how fortunate we are to be part of this fabulous country that is the United Kingdom.
You mentioned stock. May I ask another culinary question?
I knew it. Food.
Aldo,
Take stock.
You specified the stock with that dish, the meatball dish. How important, and I think I know the answer, but it'd be interesting for the listeners and the viewers, how important is a great stock to a good
100%.
meal?
Without a great
Delicious,
stock,
actually.
you can't make risotto.
Yeah.
You can't make a dish like that, like meatballs. I mean, I roasted the bones last night.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
The
beef bones.
Yes. And there's all sorts of things in there. There's loads of different fresh herbs.
Yeah.
And good wines.
But nowadays, you can get these fabulous sort of stock jellies.
Yeah, you can.
How effective and how much do they compete with a fabulous sort of homemade stock?
The thing is, when you buy a stock, you can't be skimming on price as well. You know, people pick up the cubes and there's nothing wrong with it, but it's nothing great.
Do you know, can I just kind of stop you with the stock conversation?
Oh, sorry.
Only
No,
because
sorry.
We forgot we were on television.
Yeah, they forgot. They're just having a conversation.
Here we go,
frankly.
here we go, here we
I'll tell you
go.
what I'm really good at. I'm really good at eating, yeah? That's about it, right? I don't want to hear about how it's made or where it's come from.
This has got strawberries
Oh, my
underneath,
God, look at that.
Oh, that looks
raspberries, limoncello liqueur.
Oh, my God, don't give them too much, otherwise there won't be any for
There
me.
you go.
I've got to pass it to this end first.
Oh, well, that's good. Oh, sweet too. Do we know what the Queen's favourite dish is?
Yeah, I know, but I don't know where to put it now.
No, I don't know.
I don't know.
There's bowls there.
Bring the
look.
bowls
Oh, they're bowls. Here we go. Pass those down. This
I
is
knew
good
there
here,
were
isn't it?
bowls
I'll come
somewhere.
again.
Tell you what, darling. This is the party
very
now.
This is the party,
proper-
darling. This is the party.
So you see, yeah, so we're having a nice time here on GB News. This is the first time I've eaten on TV.
Yeah, when I
not
first
bad.
came to this country, I used to make. I made a similar dessert to this called zuppa inglese, with I used creme pâtissière instead of the custard, and that's what this has underneath, and the jelly, and of course the fresh raspberries on top.
Stunning.
And I've made a raspberry coulis to go on top of that.
So, Aldo, is this a very chic, smart
Trifle.
trifle? It is, right.
Yeah, and I mean, if you can buy, the trifle everywhere, to be honest, but it's so easy to make your own. It's like making pasta and buying pasta already made.
But you shouldn't put too much sherry in it, too much alcohol. That's what I
That's
do.
not like you.
No,
Couldn't
it's
be.
too much in the sponge.
Why are you lying about alcohol?
But I mean, I can't say... this is so lovely because I've had so much Victoria sponge this week.
That's got limoncello in it, so it should sort you out.
Wow. God, that's good.
Spoons down here, I think. Yeah.
Oh, they haven't got any spoons.
This Jubilee
I'm doing you a favour.
It's a bit like an Ease Up Fable, isn't it?
Another one.
But it's just brought everyone together, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
It's
Well,
just
food-
such
Now we're all
fun.
talking. Now we've forgotten that we're television. We've forgotten everything.
Well, food is good.
Sorry about this.
No, don't worry about it. Listen, we've had fun. Hopefully you've had some fun as well. We haven't called for many of your emails and many communications from you, but if you have anything if you want to talk to us and tell us how your Jubilee's been, then there is still time to get a quick message to us at GB News or email gbnews@gbnews.uk. Food is such a great way of bringing people together, isn't it? And it's so fabulous to have a chef in the house to cook for us here at GB News. Hopefully you are doing the same. Aldo, right, are we going to do something on Sunday or should we just carry on? Oh, there's more.
I made
What
these.
did they... Oh, my gosh.
Really, these are
Eclairs.
amazing. Profiterole.
I thought they were eclairs. There's no chocolate in
I forgot about
there. No, just take one.
profiterole.
Have a bowl.
Pick one out.
There you go. Pick one out.
This is amazing.
If you pick my one, it'll be like...
You've got to have a profiterole.
Oh, wow.
This is great.
They're
Like
filled
this-
with, not with cream, they're filled with creme pâtissière.
What's the difference? It's not vegan cheese,
Well,
is it?
cream is cream. Anybody can whip a bit of
What's
cream.
creme pâtissière?
Creme pâtissière is like a French custard, really.
Oh, that's
the version
delicious.
of mine. And it's absolutely incredible.
Well, don't be fooled if I don't finish
What do you
this
think
here.
of that?
I can't even talk. I'm not normally stuck for words. I can't.
Delicious. Really, truly delicious.
God, Aldo, you've excelled yourself, my dear.
Can you invite me again if you want food?
Aldo's cooking.
Whatever you do. Yeah. You brought some great things. At least you didn't bring spaghetti or anything pastry that you can't eat on TV. Because the profiterole looks quite dangerous to attack as well.
I went a little Brittany, you know, a bit of British and a bit of Italian, and it's worked.
It's fabulous.
I think. There's also a little bit of French in there.
We need to finish this off with some of that champagne. I don't know why.
Well, I'm very near to it. Shall I open it?
No, I don't know.
I'm quite good at that.
I don't know. Health and
But
safety.
you've dropped enough hints.
I haven't, no. People just pretend they can't hear me here.
The only thing I should have brought is a nice bottle of Brunello or Barolo or something.
Brunello. Sounds lovely. Yeah, Lizzie, go on, crack it open.
Amarone. It's the king of red Italian wines, Amarone. Sometimes 15.5%, 16% alcohol content. It's so thick and heavy. It's expensive, but if you've had a good month, like in the car game, I treat myself to a bottle of Amarone.
I just get some Rioja from the corner shop.
That's a good week.
You can't, yeah, exactly. You can't go wrong with one of those, though, can you? I mean, just
oh my God, Aldo.
Get a shot on Lizzie, please, just straight on her face.
That's better than anything I've had. That is incredible.
It is.
Of course, all your colleagues in the production suite will be praying that we don't eat anymore.
We are going to eat all of this.
Because at 6 o'clock, they're all going to invade, like termites.
Yeah, they will do. Well, listen, we're coming to the end of the Jubilee celebration, so I just wanted to start with you, Lizzie, and just whilst you just got something stuck in your mouth, because I thought that was quite good fun to go with you first. I thought, who's still eating? Lizzie, right. So, Lizzie, OK, well, I'll go to David first then. You're ready?
Go on,
yeah, no.
yes.
So talk to me then. This Jubilee, for you, what's been the best sort of part of it?
Well, I think it is just seeing the love for the Queen and just bringing everyone together. It's been such a joyful time after the couple of years we've had. Just seeing crowds together, people drinking, enjoying themselves, not worrying about all the politics and everything that's going on at the minute.
I know, we don't want to talk about it.
And just the togetherness, and especially I'm in a village, and just seeing everyone together, and as neighbours I didn't know I had, and people just all coming together. It's been fantastic, and just the love of the Queen. And just saying thank you to Her Majesty.
David?
I think when I saw the initial schedule, I thought this is incredibly ambitious. There's an awful lot going on. And I thought then, quietly, from 96, would she be able to do this? But I think the remarkable thing is, she was very clever. We saw at the beginning, and then we wanted more of her. But we couldn't get more of her. But this afternoon, we did see more of her on the balcony. And I personally think that what she set out to do, and she's achieved, she wanted to bring everybody together. She wanted to bring the people of this country together. She wanted to bring the Commonwealth people together, and the world has watched it.
The world has watched it. Aldo?
Yeah, it just goes to show you that we can live without bad news.
And it's nice to live without bad news.
And all the papers, I haven't read anything apart from the Jubilee weekend.
Thank goodness they stopped talking about it.
We had a street party. Our house has been decked with Union Jacks.
Wonderful.
And it's been great. And today, GBNews, by the way, the coverage has been first class.
I agree.
First class.
Thank you so much.
I'm very proud to be
come on. And of course, our brilliant viewers and listeners who've joined us throughout today and throughout the full 4 days of this fabulous, amazing Jubilee celebration to celebrate the 70 years of impeccable service of our Queen. And so on today's show, we've been following the pageant at the finale of this wonderful woman and her Platinum Jubilee. And I've got to say a big thank you so much to my celebrity chef panel. Aldo Zilli, thank you, Aldo. Broadcaster Danny Kelly, it's been a pleasure. Columnist and model Lizzie Cundy, and fashion designer David Emanuel. And also a big thank you to you for joining me today. It's been such a pleasure to cover this amazing, amazing event. I'll be back on Friday at 4. The weather is next.
Looking ahead to this evening's weather, and the UK is looking cloudy for many, with outbreaks of thundery rain possible for some. Let's take a look at the details. In the southwest of England, a band of heavy and possibly thundery rain will affect the parts of North Devon and Somerset, much clearer and drier further west. In the southeast of England, it'll remain rather overcast this evening, and some heavy, possibly thundery showers may affect western areas for a time. In South Wales, there's a thunderstorm warning in force this evening, so there could be some spray on the roads and sudden downpours. In the Midlands, it'll be a murky evening, drizzly for some, but across more southern areas, there's a risk of some heavy or thundery showers later on. Further north, in northeast England, there'll be a lot of cloud around this evening, especially over any hills where it's